What has been your findings in Islam lately?
Ooh.
I had to
Well, there's a
literally think of the most random question.
well. I mean, at least it's a question. I mean, uh, it's been a while since I've really tackled um, Islam as much. Because to me, I mean, I think the whole thing is just uh,
The
its
same
own
with me, by
thing,
the way.
huh?
Same with me. I haven't really tackled that topic for a while.
Well, I mean,
I think
like
we.
this, I think the
Yeah,
stuff
go
that
ahead.
we covered, I think the stuff that we got into it was just like a lot. And when we
Yeah,
would bring it up to the Muslims, they usually would not have much of a response
yeah.
towards it. I mean, I think the main thing, and let me see if I still actually have this specific quote because I'd actually gotten it from you, and this was probably the latest that I had gotten it, was the one scholar of Islam who was considered a respected one of Ibn Khuzayma. And his work is, of course, in Arabic, but thanks to the person, what's his name? Uh, uh, he was known as Wesley Muhammad in one paper, but I forgot what he goes by now.
Wesley Williams.
Uh, yeah, him, the Nation of Islam
Yeah,
scholar.
yeah. Wesley.
He was at least fluent in Arabic to provide a translation from this
Oh,
book.
he translated.
He provided a segment that he translated. Um,
Okay.
and this is from the book Kitab al Tawhid by Ibn Khuzayma, and this is what it says. Um, His face is that which he described with splendor, jalal, and venerability. Iqrari. I included this just in case the Muslim wanted to look into his own topic. In his statement, the face of your Lord remains, possessor of splendor, venerability. Surah 55, ayah 27. Now, the reason that I want to point this out is that, they say that, oh, you believe in a God that walks on the earth, that, you could see him and all that kind of stuff. That's weak, man. Your God is weak. I don't know why some Muslims think that was a good argument, because here this is Ibn Khuzayma who mentions the face of Allah, and it remains possessor of splendor, venerability, and so he goes on to say God denied that it perishes, nafi anu al halafi, when his creatures perish. Our Lord is exalted above anything from his essential attributes, min sifat dati, perishing. God has affirmed, he goes on to say, God has affirmed for himself a splendid and venerable face, which he declares is eternal and non perishable. We and all scholars of our madhab, our school, from the Hijaz, the Tihama, Yemen, Iraq, Syria, and Egypt affirm for God the face, which he
Wow.
has affirmed for himself. We profess it with our tongues and believe it in our hearts without likening Nashabibiyah, his face, to one from his creatures. May our Lord be exalted above our likening him to his creatures. So, right here, what we're seeing is that they believe that, Allah, he has a face, um, and it is eternal and non perishable. Some have, I believe he's focused on this as like the veil of Allah, is
Yeah.
basically how this is usually described. Um, but yet, while they're saying that that Allah has this face, and such, they don't believe that that's attributing anything to God or like attributing creation to him and such, which Muslims would say that that's sort of a concept of shirk and definitely heresy at that point. But this is a well-respected scholar and said that all the scholars in that school of Islam that he was in, especially not just in his area, but in Iraq, Syria, Egypt, and all these other places, they affirm this. And not only that, they openly profess this in the Islamic Ummah and the Islamic community. And no one was having too much of a problem with it, apparently, since the scholars in those areas were, professing it.
I
Um,
just like how you had that photo ready, even though I had no intention on touching Islam. That was pretty good. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was some good meat right there. Yeah, I mean, Wesley Muhammad, he's like that. I mean, his PhD was basically no different to Heiser's, but with an Islamic, spin.
Yep.
Um, and his the verse he went to was Surah 51. Wait, sorry, Surah 42:51, which is the veil that Allah speaks through a veil, and then he goes through pretty much all early Islamic texts, speaking like even the hadiths and all that, saying that this veil represents a young face.
Hmm.
And so Allah is and I kid you not, some of the hadiths it says a young golden face, like a face that's like gold, like literal gold. Um, and apparently Muhammad could see him or something, and then people were questioning him, like, how can you see Allah? You can't see Allah.
Hmm.
And then the two powers thing crept in,
Hmm.
but in an Arabic form.
Right.
So